Top meme coins on each and every chain. What are they? Why it's actually important? Because I can tell you 100% that holding top meme coins on each and every chain is actually the highest ROI activity of this cycle. You cannot even say that it's an activity in the first place, because the only thing you need to do is just hold, just do nothing in the first place. And the fact that it's risky, the fact that people think that meme coins are not worth holding because they don't have utility and things like that, the fact we still have this mind frame inside the market between retail players, between retailers that treat meme coins like gambling, means that there is an upside there. Upside that you can seize by yourself. Buying top meme coins in great chains with great catalysts, worth looking at. In this video, we will go through 5 top meme coins for chains that I think will be doing quite well in the current bull cycle. I will also provide you with some extra picks and some very interesting reasoning behind them. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let's actually start. First of all, let's start with Bitcoin. Yes, we do have several options for Bitcoin at this stage. We do have Dogecoin, which is a blockchain like a layer 1 by itself. It's a fork of Bitcoin in the first place. It's very similar to how Bitcoin operates. Dogecoin is essentially its own blockchain in the first place, therefore it actually stands alone and it has the largest market cap in all of the meme coins. Getting into Dogecoin, I think you will be getting some multipliers. I think you actually might be outperforming some things on the market as well. I do think that we should be seeing Dogecoin at $1 this cycle. I think it's quite conservative because I do expect for this cycle to be a super cycle for Memecoin. And by the way, if you actually would like me to do a full video on explaining my thesis with fundamentals on why we are in the Memecoin super cycle, feel free to share that in the comments. Next thing is something interesting, something that appeared just recently, and UBRC20 tokens called POPs, which is a meme token of Pop's ordinal NFT collection. That is just crushing it. Like, they're at very nice levels in comparison to the floor they were actually starting with. Currently we see it at 370 million bucks. At around $20 right here, I already told you that probably your upside might be quite limited. We are at 2x since then, and still I think that it might actually worth be waiting on this thing. But you have to understand that if Bitcoin will essentially surge up short term, and if we will continue our left translated cycle, then this thing will absolutely surge up as well at this stage. I just understand at this stage that my personal upside is quite limited. Therefore, I might only be buying this thing if it will essentially correct significantly. And I'm alright with missing it at the same time as well. You do also have something like Res, for example, which is a BRC20 meme token on ordinals as well. BRC20 token that actually appeared and pumped in the last pump of ordinals, closer to December of last year. Interesting thing that we see with ordinals pumping is that a lot of Ethereum people, they're essentially bridging into ordinals. They start to get into space, and therefore things that are connected to Ethereum people are actually pumping in the first place, like node monkeys, Bitcoin puppets, and essentially tokens around them as well, or the swap and things like that too. We do see that POP was a fair mint. You pretty much had the option to mint the token with 777 tokens per mint and 7.7 million of tokens in total. Very interesting example of NFT community pumping and surging up the price of the token. Quite interesting what's going to happen with it moving forward. I think it might be your blue chip if you think that ordinal NFTs will continue to do well. That might be the pick for yourself too. You obviously have rats, you have cats, you have a range of BRC20, and even ORDI, which is the first BRC20 token, it has this mover advantage. And it's also a meme token because it does not do anything. And if you're just bullish on long-term potential of ordinals, you might just buy into ORDI as well. Market cap is 1.6 billion at this stage, therefore your upside might be quite limited, but it might be something interesting to check out if you want to play on a safer side as well. But I would not be expecting like 10-20x's if you're buying into ORDI at this stage. Moving forward, something that is kind of also called a Bitcoin meme coin is Welsh. It's a meme coin on Stacks, which is oldest and largest Bitcoin layer 2 at this stage. And if you're bullish on Stacks, you might actually be wanting to buy into Welsh. I would say that the chart of Welsh looks quite bullish at this stage because just going down, nice consolidation. We should be seeing a certain pump at a certain stage, although definitely a lot of people seem to be taking profits, and these pumps, they're just corrections to these downside moves, right? It's clear to see that at this stage. So it might have a nice entry point, but the market cap is already around $50 million, so your upside might be quite limited as well. Moving forward, we do have Ethereum, and we have Shiba Inu as the largest meme token on Ethereum, which is a meme token of previous cycle. I do think it will be doing well to a certain extent, although your upside there might be quite limited. You have something like Floki on Ethereum as well, which is lower in market cap, therefore might be doing something as well. Personally, I do like Pepe, I loan Pepe, I have a bunch of tokens around Pepe as well in Ethereum like Bobo. I do think that Pepe should be doing well moving forward, and I have a range of tokens around Pepe as a narrative this bull cycle as well. This is my pick on Ethereum. I do think that Pepe will be doing quite well this cycle, and I do think that we should be seeing numbers on our Pepe backs. Then we have Base, which is a layer 2 on Ethereum. On Base, you have several main options. I would be mostly talking about like largest two of them at this stage, about Bread and about Toshi as well. I do see Toshi as something more stable. And the main reason for that is because liquidity on Toshi is 6.4 million at this stage. Liquidity on Bread is 3.5 million. We recently saw that several millions of liquidity were actually extracted out of Bread. And you can do that if you are adding your liquidity into a liquidity pool. You pretty much increase liquidity for the token. If you are removing it, you are decreasing it. The issue with that is the fact that market cap is quite huge for this type of liquidity. So people who have millions in Bread at this stage, it might be quite hard for them to actually take profits on their millions of tokens in Bread at this stage. I think that both of them should be doing well. If you want to be more conservative, I think Toshi might be your pick. Although there are definitely some groups, some parties that hold a lot of volumes for these things already, and they at a certain point they will definitely be taking profits on them as well. One point on Bread that you might like is that its original boys club character from Matt Fury the artist. Therefore, it should be piggybacking the narrative for Pepe as well. We have different characters, and we have different characters on different chains. Like we have Bread on Ethereum, we have Bread on Base, we even have Bread on Solana with 500,000 liquidity. So you might say like the market cap is so low, right? But liquidity is only 7 times lower than Bread on Base, right? And same thing on Solana. On Solana, liquidity is only 7 times lower, despite the fact like market cap is 100 times lower, right? Well, you have to understand these things when you're investing into meme coins. You have to understand and be careful with these things in the first place. A correction I wanted to add for Bread, because I just saw that we have pretty much couple different liquidity pools, and that's why on DEX Screener we see different tokens, but the contract address is the same. We do see that liquidity on one of them is 9.8 million in the first place, with pooled Bread at 7.5 million and pooled Ethereum 2.3 million, which is very, very interesting. And on the first one that was shown already, we do see that the liquidity is even, that pooled into the pool 1.7 and 1.7. Therefore, I must say I was wrong, since we have a couple of liquidity pools, and total liquidity on Bread should be around $11 million, which is quite alright in comparison to the market cap that Bread has at this stage. Next, we have Blast, which is also Ethereum layer 2. We do have Andy, and we do have Pack as your choices on Blast. My choice is Andy here in the first place, just because I do see that on pack we do have 90 million fully diluted valuation with the market cap at 30 million, which is something I don't like to see in the first place on meme coins. We do also see that liquidity is 1.3 million, and on Andy at this stage liquidity is 1 million with a fully diluted market cap of $16 million. Interesting thing with Blast is because a lot of the market does not understand what the Blast is in the first place. They don't know anything about the Blast, about Blast team and things like that. The team of Blast, they did not start the marketing yet. They did not start their education process, education of the market on what Blast is. A lot of people don't know that it's Ethereum layer 2 in the first place, which is very, very interesting, and for us as investors definitely helps us to understand that we have a lot of upside still, because a lot of people, they don't know anything. They don't understand, they don't see the potential because they just don't know these things in the first place. I might actually be doing explanation video on Blast, on the ecosystem. It would be very, very interesting to check out different dApps, to talk about the potential of the ecosystem, like how Blast is different, things like that. I was doing a couple of them before, but this might be very, very interesting as well. My pick on Blast is Andy because of the fact it will be able to piggyback Pepe as a boys club member in the first place from the original artist of Pepe, Matt Fury. And at the same time, I like seeing the fact that FDV is the same as the market cap as well. I do kind of feel that a lot of allocation is actually provided to influencers in something like pack at this stage. I just saw some things, right? I think that distribution on Andy on Blast is a bit more fair at this stage. Something we have next is FUD on Sui, which is a very, very interesting project in the first place. We see it actually was dipping like pretty nice. So it just recovered from this dip. We can definitely check that the dip was 46%. And from the loss of this dip, we're already up 30% at this stage. Liquidity is 1 million. At the same time, FDV is $47 million. So something I don't like to see as well, because FDV is essentially 3 times larger than the market. I don't think that this is something you would want to have on the meme coins, but I still do think that FUD is probably the largest meme coin on Sui at this stage. And once Sui will be picked up on the market, once they would be essentially investing these resources to market Sui, so VCs can dump on retail very, very hard, they would be surging up in numbers as well. A very, very interesting thing that's happening as well is that in Paris at this stage, we have Sui conference. And bullish thing for the project is that FUD the Pug, like someone in the costume of FUD the Pug, is actually on Sui conference. And he was spotted in Paris as well, like right here, some pictures right here as well. It's quite bullish from my point of view when members of the community are actually doing something like this. It was a generational entry into FUD the Pug at the end of February. We will see what will be happening with this thing as well. I'm not a holder at this stage, although I might actually want to buy into it at a certain stage as well. This is my pick on Sui, and in general I'm quite bullish on Sui. It's quite interesting that there is this mind frame on the market currently that Sui is not very meme friendly and things like that. It will depend on the team, but I would say that teams that will not be using meme coins this cycle to attract users, they will probably be losing the competition. They would probably be stupid. And they probably don't understand a lot of the market at this stage. And we saw success of Solana with meme coins and just surged the price up very, very high. Other chains like AVAX, they're doing that as well. So I do think that teams who are working on different blockchains, they should be using this thing. And even if they want to do it currently, I do think that eventually they will be capitulating to the fact that they actually need to use meme coins to attract users, because that's like the best thing to onboard users on chain. And once users on chain, they have some funds in the meme coin, they will be playing with protocols, with the things that the chain has. They will be checking out what actually is happening, and they will be leaving some funds and adding into the TVL on the chain as well. And for any chain, main race that they are participating in is actually the race for TVL, because the larger TVL your chain has, the more developers you would actually be able to attract, the more users you would actually be able to attract, because people would see that, wow, we see a large TVL, so a lot of people are on this chain already, they're trusting it, something interesting might be happening there. Let me join as well. Something we have next is Wolf on AVAX. I'm a holder of this thing. I'm just continue holding. I was not taking any profit. And interesting thing that we see is that we have quite a lot of meme coins on AVAX. Some things that were doing quite well recently. Now, Cock Inu, Second, Cockweave, Conk, and we see that Wolf is trading at 8th place at this stage. The reason I'm holding this meme coin and not others is very simple. I do think that my upside in others might be quite limited at this stage. Something like Cock Inu is 240 million market cap already, right? And I do think that Wolf will definitely be at least fighting for this place to be one of the largest meme on the chain, just because of the fact it's also piggybacking essentially Pepe in the first place. And the interesting thing with Wolf that we have is the same thing that we have with Andy, because we do have Wolf on Ethereum as well, we do have Wolf on Base, we do have another Wolf on Ethereum as well, third Wolf on Ethereum, so there are a bunch of Wolves already. One of the things I wanted to share is also Redom. I do think it's going to be the largest, and it's pretty much is already a largest meme coin on Ton. And I know some people in the comments were saying that Crash called this earlier than me. And yes, of course, I was buying my Redo after Crash called it in the first place. I was essentially buying it after he called, like somewhere February, January, somewhere around that time. In my recent video, I was specifically talking about this point because at 4th of April and 5th of April, I was doing a couple of videos where I was mentioning Redo, saying that it's in a great buy zone at this stage, right? The options that you might have is to long Ton coin, maybe after correction at this stage, or to buy into a meme coin on Ton, which is called Redo, Resistance Dog. I actually hold this meme coin myself, and I do believe it will be doing very well quite soon. And if you were buying at these levels, you should be up 7x currently. So it's not that bad, because no one was talking about this thing, and then Crash and Crypto Bunter made the show, they mentioned it there, then Ran from Crypto Bunter mentioned it again, and Crash created a separate video as well. 100 million market cap at this stage. I do think we might actually be seeing this thing going higher as well, because of the reason that the ratio of the market cap of the token of the chain to the meme token is very low at this stage, in comparison to the same type of ratios that we have on other chains as well. So you might say that Ton is not very meme friendly, but I do think this should be changing as well, because a lot of people understand at this stage that their upside of buying Ton at this stage is quite limited, but their upside of buying Redo is quite nice. I would say even still at this stage. In my video a couple days ago, I was showing Redo at 40 million market cap, and I was saying that it's still a nice time to buy. So if you were buying at 40 million, we should be up more than 2x, and I do think that your upside might still be there. Also, obviously, you have to be very careful. Very interesting things are happening for Ton. Not a lot of people in the West actually know about this ecosystem and the things that are happening, but the founder of Telegram is speaking on the conference next week for the first time in a very long amount of time as well. I think that the last time he was speaking on the conference was in like 2015 or something. And that's the reason I think that the Ton in Redo are holding and surging up at this stage. Although it easily might be sell the deuce event, depending on the things that he would be selling in the conference. But I do think that part of the public actually expects something bullish to be disclosed on the conference, which I think might be happening because they have a very nice setup to overtake essentially the whole crypto industry in the first place, just because of the fact they have way more users, way more retail than Coinbase at this stage. And at the same time, 90% of supply of Ton is connected by top 100 wallets. They do own 90% of the supply. And if you're new to crypto, you might say it's bearish and things like that, but it's very easy to push the asset up if you own 90% of the supply of the asset. So I would say it's actually quite bullish because we are definitely not at the end of the cycle. This guy is not going on the conference to dump his token right away. That's just not the right time to be doing that. Therefore, I do think we should be seeing Tone doing numbers, and all of these people who didn't know about Tone, who have FOMO, that they missed out, they would be getting into redo. I do think something very interesting might be expecting us with this meme token in the first place. And several last picks that I wanted to share. We do have this narrative of essentially a range of layer 2s dropping their tokens with airdrops this year. I cannot even fathom how you cannot be bullish on Ethereum. You should be very bullish on Ethereum at this stage in the first place. We do have something like Mantle with Puff as the largest meme token on chain. Unfortunately, it's at 19 million market cap already with FDV of 200 million with a lot of liquidity, like 17 million. I would say that like this liquidity is close to something like Pepe actually on the marketplace currently. So like there are a bunch of liquidity in this meme token, which is very interesting, which basically means that it might be harder to push it, right? We do have Moe and things like that. I would say your upside for Puff might be quite limited currently, but you might want to wait for a correction. Maybe we will be going to this level, even to these levels if we would be seeing like a larger correction on the market, and you might actually be able to get into your token as well. We will also have an airdrop for Linea, which is Ethereum layer 2, which is funded by Consensus. They invested more than $500 million into this Ethereum layer 2. A lot of people, they do project that Linear airdrop is actually going to be the largest. It should be happening Q3, Q4 of this year. If you would ask me, I would provide you with a ballpark of somewhere around September. I think that might be a good guess. Largest meme on Linea right now is Linda, which I'm actually quite excited to see because I was buying it at $1 million market cap. And I was buying it back in December, right? We had something like Lube happening as well. What actually happened? It seems like it rugged something, right? Because Lube had way more liquidity than this thing. Very interesting. This meme, as I know, is actually being run by Indian team. They are focusing on being this mascot for Linea. And unfortunately, I was not entering with size back in December. I was entering like with 4K, which is quite a low amount of money for me to be entering into this meme. So I'm thinking at this stage, maybe if you would be seeing a larger correction, like this thing, I would say that like this is 100x from 5 million to $500 million. Well, at the same time, liquidity, like if you would have this type of liquidity on Solana, you would be in 60 millions already, right? So I would say that liquidity definitely might be tough to push up, but Linda should be doing quite well. It's definitely a longer pick, but the key on the market to actually make money with meme coins and not just gamble, right? Because when you gamble, you are mostly losing, right? Is to buy things when no one cares and just hold them. And Linda is a very nice example for that. I might be actually getting more on the correction. If we won't be seeing one, no worries, I will just write my bag. Because if you're not satisfied with the size of the bag for the token that you have, one thing how you can counter this without actually adding more money into the bag is just holding more. Because the more you hold, the more you're not taking profits, the more your bag essentially grows. So this is how you can counter the fact that you might have small exposure to a certain token that you wanted to buy more in the first place, but you didn't for some reason. Last but not least is Scroll, which is also Ethereum layer 2, definitely smaller than Linea, but they should also be getting the airdrop. And the meme token that Virtual Bacon was pushing here is Panda, right? Panda is number 12. We do have something like Cat as well. Yeah, liquidity is lower, so it's probably not a best thing. We do have something like Scrolly, low liquidity as well, but probably it's in the top because we do see some volumes here. We do have something like Van. So it's quite interesting because it has a bunch of meme tokens, but it does not mean that they can track. Something that we saw with Lube, right? Because Lube had at least $3 million of liquidity. I remember that. Right now it's only $500,000. Definitely something happened there. So Virtual Bacon was pushing Panda, therefore I think you're quite safe there. And yeah, you can spot the difference. Here with 500k liquidity, we are at the market cap of $20 million, right? On Linda, with 500k liquidity, we were at the market cap of 5 million. It's a very, very interesting thing to actually note from your end as well. We might be actually losing this level and going back here, which will provide us with a very, very nice entry point as well. But I do think that the airdrop on Scroll would definitely be lower than on Lania. There are some things that you can also check, like Zeki Sync and Layer 0 probably would have something there as well. But this video is quite long at this stage, and I guess you understand the whole thought process. 90% of liquidity of meme coins on all these chains, they will be eventually coming into a largest safe meme token. And positioning yourself in this meme token on each and every chain and actually holding it might be your path to wealth, if you actually would want to ask me. I do think it actually might be a very, very high ROI activity for this cycle. At the same time, you need to bet on chains that you think will be doing well. I think Sui will be doing well. I think Blast will be doing well. I think Linda will be doing well. You also have something on Solana like WIF. Solana should be doing well to some extent as well. Ethereum. So if you're bullish on the chain, but just buy the meme coin, especially if there is no token for the chain yet, because it means that you will have the airdrop. And the first airdrop that we will have like short term is on Notcoin on Tone, which should be very, very bullish. And then we have airdrop on Blast. And a lot of people don't know what the fuck Blast is at this stage. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will be seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.